Are we ready? All right. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Good afternoon. My name is Supervisor Malia Cohen. I'm the chair of this committee, and this is the regular meeting of the Land Use and Transportation Committee. To my right is Supervisor Scott Wiener. He's the vice chair. Our clerk is Ms. Andrea Osprey. I'd like to thank Charles Kermanek and Leo D'Assis from SF Gov TV for broadcasting this meeting. Madam Clerk, do you have any announcements?
Yes, please silence all cell phones and electronic devices. Completed speaker cards and copies of any documents to be included as part of the file should be submitted to the clerk. Items acted upon today will appear on the June 7th, 2016 Board of Supervisors agenda unless otherwise stated.
Thank you very much. Could you call item 1?
Item number 1 is an ordinance amending the planning code to allow mid-block, alley, and rooftop screening and enclosure controls.
All right. Thank you. So, colleagues, the Planning Department is the sponsor of this item, and we have a staff person from the Planning Department to present. We're ready when you are.
Good afternoon, Chair Cohn, Honorable Supervisors. Tina Chang, Planning Department staff. The action before you today is a planning code amendment affecting controls to 2 separate areas of the planning code. The first is mid-block alley and horizontal mass controls, and the second, rooftop screening and enclosure controls. With respect to mid-block alleys, the amendment is mostly cleanup, though the applicability of the controls are expanded. Regarding rooftop screening and enclosures, the amendment increases the flexibility of the controls. As written, mid-block alleys apply to large lot developments in eastern neighborhoods mixed use, south of market mixed use, and C3 districts that have street frontages over 200 linear feet. The alleys are intended to break up large blocks to create more pedestrian-friendly environments. Mid-block alleys would continue to apply to these zoning districts while also expanding to 3 adjacent zoning districts, the Folsom Street NCT, Soma Street NCT, and the Regional Commercial District. When adopted, controls only applied to the eastern neighborhoods and mixed-use DTR districts and required that mid-block alleys be at least 60% open to the sky. In 2010, the board adopted legislation to extend the mid-block alley requirement to all eastern neighborhood zoning districts, south of market mixed-use, and south of market C3 districts. However, the 60% open to sky qualification was not extended to apply to the additional districts. To more consistently apply mid-block alley requirements through the city, this ordinance amends the planning code to make clear that mid-block alleys, where applicable, so in all the aforementioned zoning districts, will be at least 60% open to the sky. Additionally, since large frontages may occur on alleys as well as streets, the mid-block alley and horizontal mass controls would be amended to make clear that such controls apply to projects with street or alley frontages rather than only street frontages as is currently the case. In these following 3 slides, what's shown in orange are the areas where the mid-block alley controls already apply. In blue are the additional proposed locations for their application. This graphic here shows the addition of the Soma Street NCT running generally north-south and the eastern portion of the Folsom Street NCT running generally east-west. This map here, the additional areas where mid-block alley controls will apply are, in blue, are the western portion of the Folsom Street NCT running east-west and the regional commercial districts running generally north-south. Finally, this map shows other areas of the city where mid-block alley controls apply, namely the urban mixed-use and mixed-use residential zoning districts in the southeast portions of the city. The second part of the amendment before you allows for more flexibility of rooftop screens and enclosures. To be clear, the flexibility is not categorically permitted and requires design review and planning commission approval pursuant to section 309 and 329 review. As written, planning code controls for the screens and enclosures may not always adequately screen mechanical equipment or allow for better urban design. Currently, to provide a 20-foot screen or enclosure, a setback must be provided at the building's terminus. This may prove inconsistent with the building's overall design. Projects may also choose to provide a screen without a setback. However, the height of the screen must be reduced by 25% or to 15 feet. This lowered height can prevent mechanical features from being adequately screened, since the height of many mechanical features is 16 feet or more. The proposed ordinance provides a bit more flexibility to the volumetric controls, allowing screens to reach a height of 20 feet for up to 100% of the rooftop areas rather than 75% as currently allowed. Again, the flexibility is not categorically permitted and requires design review and planning commission approval through our downtown project and large project authorizations. This concludes my presentation, but I'm available for any questions. Thank you.
Public comment. Thank you for your presentation. Let's open up for public comment at this time. Just as a reminder, everyone will have 2 minutes to speak, you'll hear a 30-second chime a soft chime indicating that you have 30 seconds remaining on your 2-minute time. Public comment is open. Okay, seeing that there's no public comment, it's closed. Thank you. Is there a motion on this item? Supervisor Weiner, do you have a motion on this item? Thank you. Okay, the motion is to forward with a positive recommendation, and without objection, this motion passes unanimously. Thank you. Madam Clerk, could you do me a favor?
Yes.
I'd like to call items 2 and 3 together.
Yes.
Thank you.
Item 2 is resolution declaring the intention of the Board of Supervisors to order the vacation of portions of Jessie Street and Elm Alley Oceanwide project. And item number 3 is an ordinance amending the administrative code to establish Downtown Neighborhood Preservation Fund, street vacation, sale of property of Jessie Street and Elm Alley for a total approximately of $36 million.
All right, thank you very much. I believe we have Mr. Jeff Buckley from the Mayor's Office here to present on this item. Thanks, Mr. Buckley.
Hi, Supervisors. Good afternoon. My name is Jeff Buckley. I'm Mayor's staff. I'm here to briefly talk to you about the 51st Street project, or also known as Oceanwide. Give you a brief update on or overview of the project. I think also in addition to that, give you an opportunity, I think, to hear about a very interesting aspect of the project, which is the urban room. We'll have the project sponsor come up for about 3 to 5 minutes, I think, go through the concept of the urban room and the need for it. And then I think you have an array of city staff here afterwards to take any questions that you may have on the item, however large or small, and go forward. I do want to start off first by talking briefly about the project. So 51st Street is a mixed-use project that's at the northeast corner of First and Mission. It includes about a million square feet of total office space, 265 units, 169-room hotel, ground floor retail, and a privately owned public open space and 2 towers. So this project received its approval from the Planning Commission, I believe on May 5th. And so what's before you is the street vacation of Elm Alley and a portion of Jessie Street. And also, in addition to that, some of the details of the Downtown Preservation Fund, which I'm happy to go into detail with you on. So the main reason for the legislation you have before you is the vacation of Jessie, which is necessary in order to build the First Street Tower as one building to the height contemplated in the Transit Center District Plan, which was adopted in 2012. The plan is a comprehensive vision for shaping growth in the southern side of downtown. The Transit Center District Plan focuses regional growth towards downtown San Francisco in a sustainable transit-oriented manner, looks to sculpt the downtown skyline and invest in substantial transportation infrastructure and improvements to the streets and the open spaces and parks downtown in order to make that happen. The adoption of the plan included height reclassification of numerous parcels in the area to increase height limits, including a landmark tower site in front of the transit center with a height limit of 1,000 feet, and several other nearby sites with height limits ranging from 600 to 850 feet. The plan leverages increased development intensity to generate revenue that will enable the construction of the transportation facilities, including support for the new transit center, including the downtown rail extension, as well as improvements to sidewalks and other important pedestrian infrastructure to create a public realm. So some of the, I think, interesting aspects of this project, just so that you are aware of them, includes some of the one-time fees that will be generated from the project. Again, this is not the issue before you, but I think it's just important to understand the project in general. It would estimate to generate $117 million in one-time impact fees, and these fees are due at construction document estimated for issuance in November 2016. So this is about $1.9 million for downtown parks, $2.2 million for schools. Child care is about $3.1 million. Transportation sustainability fees, $17.5 million. And we will talk for a minute about the affordable housing component of this, in addition to the jobs housing linkage. But the transit center open space is 11.9, and the transit center transportation and street is about 37.7. So the issue before you is the street vacation and also the authorization to create the new Downtown Preservation Fund. So what I wanted to first talk with you about is the purchase for Jesse Alley. So this is the purchase price for the property is $22 million, about 22.6 to be exact, provided that if the closing does not occur on or before the 9-month anniversary of the effective date of the ordinance, the purchase price shall be $23,297,500. And in addition to that, in partial consideration of the city's agreement to sell the property to the buyer agrees to increase the 20% inclusionary fee that would normally be applicable here under the San Francisco Planning Code Section 415 to a 33% affordable housing fee, the affordable housing payment as it's typically known, and the city has agreed to waive the Section 415 fee and a portion of the jobs housing linkage program as well for this. The fee buyer would normally pay for the project under the planning code, but what we've essentially done is create this fund and these fees and kept them within a mile radius of the principal project and dedicated those for the purposes of acquisition rehab within that 1 mile area. And that fund will be in use for no less than 10 years. And it will be administered by the Mayor's Office of Housing and Community Development. So this is just a brief discussion of, I think, the purpose for us being here. I wanted to invite a representative of the project sponsor to come up for about 3 to 5 minutes to discuss the urban room concept and how it relates to the street vacation. So I think you have a better sense of context for that.
Thank you, Mr. Buckley. Welcome.
Good afternoon, Supervisors. Tuya Catalano with Ruben Junius and Rose, representing the project sponsor for the Ocean White Center. So we're going to keep our focus really specifically on the items that are before you today, which is the street vacation component, as well as the ordinance that will allow the direction of some of the affordable housing development impact fee monies to be directed into the community context. So in the big picture, the project has had a number of discretionary approval hearings within the past month or so, including a planning commission approval on May 5th, where the key entitlements were approved. Part of that, the project site includes that 5,000 square feet of area that is currently the existing Jesse Street and Elim Alley. And we're here today to request your recommendation on the street vacation component, and as I said, on the use of the required and voluntary affordable housing impact fee payment funds. So first, very briefly, I want to mention a few words on the street vacation. The fact that we're asking to vacate portions of the existing streets does not mean that we would be diminishing access, public access around the project proximity. And in reality, I think the opposite is actually the case. With respect to Jesse Street, we're effectively rerouting Jesse Street to terminate at Mission Street instead of First Street. And in conjunction with the street vacation, we're creating a number of easements that will allow for project public access, both vehicular and pedestrian, across and throughout the site. So one of the key reasons that is driving this is the creation of the significant and quite unique urban room, which is a publicly accessible open space that fronts First Street. And the vacated portions of Jesse Street and Elim Alley are fully within that urban room area. And the second component that's before you today is the creation of the Downtown Neighborhoods Preservation Fund, which essentially allows the project's jobs housing linkage fee, as well as the 20% required affordable housing fee and an additional 13% affordable housing fee to be directed and used within a mile radius of the site for affordable housing purposes. So I will now turn it over to Helen Manners, and they'll give you a brief overview of the visual of what we're doing and where the street vacation areas are located. But our entire team is here today, available to answer any questions that you might have.
Thank you. Thank you. Hello.
Hello, my name is Kevin Yi from Helen Manners. Together with Foster Partners, we are lead architect for Oceanwide project. So can we switch to the PPT? So we already talked about the benefit quite a lot, so I will just pass that. So the project is part of the Transbay redevelopment. We call it a transit redevelopment plan, the district plan. And it contains 2 towers, and with 265 units of residential units, 169 hotel, and over 1 million office space, which is, so the whole project is a mixed-use project. So the project is set at the corner of the Mission Street and the First Street on the northwest corner. And the basic design concept we try to bring here is to create a very friendly pedestrian network, middle block passenger way for the city. So to achieve that, together with the surrounding environment, which means Transbay Center, Sales Tower, the other alleys, we try to turn Jessie Street 90 degrees in front of our project and keep the pedestrian passenger way through the Jessie Street and improve the Elam Alley and create the additional connection from the Mission to Jessie, as you can tell. So instead of the middle block passenger way is planned in the transit development plan, we add more, and also we improve the Jessie Street as a shared street as the middle block passenger way. So this is the main design concept, towers over the heart of the urban space. We call it urban room. So that becomes the destination for the neighborhood, for the visitors, for the users for this site. So everyone has the friendly, open to the public, the urban open space, and have the fully accessible passenger way to connect to it. So here's the animation we want to show you. So take a little bit of time to load. So the basic concept is, instead of a traditional central core, we split into 2 side cores, and we opened the ground floor until the 7th floor totally opened, and we turned Jessie Street 90 degrees. So then, by doing that, we have a fully opened, pedestrian-friendly urban room space for the city, for the neighborhood, and for the project itself. So the project, as we mentioned, Jessie Street will turn 90 degrees. However, the old Jessie Street portion will still keep open for emergency vehicle and a long truck. So this is the design idea for this urban room. The urban room size is 116 feet by 248 feet with a height 68 feet. And the urban room will have the multiple function inside. So besides the setting, and you can do the performance, you can do a whole bunch of the gathering, you can do art exhibition, you can do night events in these neighborhoods. And this urban room is open for the public. And again, as we said, Jessie Street turned 90 degrees. However, we still keep the emergency vehicle through the urban room and with security guard to carefully maintain the safety for this urban room. So this is a diagram which showed the street vacation we asked for. Basically is partial of the Jessie Street and the partial of the Elam Alley. Elam Alley will keep the Elam Alley as it is, but improve it. So that's all the presentation. By doing this, we will achieve 3 main goals. One is we create a landmark tower with a huge amount of the benefit for the city. Second, we achieved a much enriched the pedestrian network and the middle block passenger way for the neighborhood. Third, we achieved this 26,000 square feet open space, which fully opened for the city, for the neighbors, and for the users. Thanks.
Is that it?
That's it.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Buckley, you want to say something in closing?
Nope, that's it.
Okay.
We're here and we have city staff to be able to answer any questions that you have.
Perfect. I don't have any questions. Looks like Supervisor Wiener doesn't have any questions. I think what I'd like to do right now is go straight into public comment. And I would like to first call up Ms. Christy Wong, then Ms. Grace Ma, followed by Ms. Cheryl Davis, followed by Mr. Michael War, followed by Ms. Misha Olivas, and Nora will be the last person to speak.
Hi, Supervisors. Christy Wong, Community Planning Policy Director for SPUR. Thank you for the opportunity to speak. I just wanted to urge you to approve this ordinance and enabling legislation to allow the Oceanwide Center project to happen. Oceanwide Center is a key component in the build out of the Transit Center District Plan, which SPUR has long supported. The Transit Center District Plan seeks to focus regional growth in the right place and invest in transportation and will protect historic resources in the downtown. So we believe that this location is the right place for growth in the region due to its proximity to regional transit and its existing role as the center of regional employment. People who work in downtown San Francisco are by far the most frequent users of transit in the region, and it's therefore an environmental imperative that we focus growth in places like this. And with limited opportunities in downtown San Francisco, this is among the parcels that's targeted for very dense development. And we can see that this ordinance is necessary for the development to happen. Also, just want to applaud all of the contributions that this development will make on a revenue side, both a one-time and voluntary and on an ongoing basis. And just don't take those opportunities, don't underestimate those opportunities. So I urge you to approve this legislation as a key component of the plan and appreciate the opportunity to speak. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Grace Ma.
Good afternoon. Thank you for the time. Supervisors, my name is Grace Ma. I'm one of the residents at the 1 acre located here. And I wanted to propose one of the concern as neighborhood as well as the citizen who takes public transportation. As we understand, currently we have 2 streets that actually allowed the trucks deliveries here and here to make a right turn onto the First Street and then onward to Mission Street. For the Jesse Street in the future to have blocked this way, to have the street going this way, what that impact would be, the truck delivery will have to make a right turn onto the Mission Street and going onto the Stevenson Street as well as the Market Street for them to get on the First Street. And the impact of that is, as a neighbor who lives on the Stevenson Street, it's already quite congested in that street. And as well as for Market Street, we all know that the subway train and the Muni trains are underneath that. I asked for the supervisors to consider what would be the impact if we divert the traffic onto the Market Street. As well as I see that today we have 5 lanes on the First Street as well as Mission Street. Taking 1 lane out of it would be a severe nightmare. And I have an article talking about what is the traffic today regarding getting on the Bay Bridge, which we know that it's already quite congested. So I'd like to just ask the supervisors to consider the decision. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Ms. Cheryl Davis.
Good afternoon. Thank you for this opportunity to speak. Just really wanted to speak from a community perspective and just recognize and show some appreciation for the developers. Being in the Western Addition, which went through redevelopment and has since kind of been, in the opinion of some folks, ignored, and then working with a large African-American population, which again feels very ignored. It's been awesome to have someone actually take interest in folks and think about San Francisco as a city and not just in regards to where they're doing their development. As we know, the displacement that is happening citywide, and it's great to see some folks coming in and trying to work with us on how to make sure some of our community members and our folks are able to still have a place to learn and grow, and hopefully at some point in time actually be able to live in some of these developments. So I was really grateful that they came and sought us out in terms of what they can do to support this city, what they can do to support this community, and I just wanted to recognize that, because a lot of times things go unnoticed, and I know that for me specifically, just with everything that's going on nationally and locally, for folks to reach out when they didn't have to is really a sign, I think, of their commitment and dedication. Much like you, Supervisor Cohen, great to see you back, commitment, dedication. So again, I just recognize them and want to thank them and acknowledge that they have reached out to some folks that they really didn't have to, and that they've shown some interest and made some commitment. So thank you.
Thank you, Sister Davis. Next speaker, please. Michael. Good to see you.
Good afternoon, Supervisors. I want to thank you for the opportunity to speak in support of the Downtown Neighborhood Preservation Fund and the Ocean Wide Center development. I'm Michael War. I'm the Deputy Director at the Museum of the African Diaspora, located with the St. Regis Hotel at 3rd and Mission, just about 2 blocks from the Ocean Wide Center site. And MOA enthusiastically welcomes the possibilities of the arts and cultural exchange that could come with the Ocean Wide Center project. We see such engagement as a powerful community benefit. We hope that Ocean Wide's commitment to culture in the community will contribute to sustaining the business of providing arts and well-being in our neighborhood. Ocean Wide has already shown its intention and desire to be a good neighbor by independently reaching out to MOAD and touring the museum. Chen Wu and Eddie Peng of Ocean Wide shared a docent-led tour with Director Linda Harrison and myself, and we witnessed their own enthusiasm for the arts and community. MOAD is motivated to not only continue serving communities across the city of San Francisco, the Bay Area, and the world, but to also expand that reach. In our own cultural district here in San Francisco, in our neighborhood, we see a growing number of new residents and families that we want to welcome to the neighborhood and surrounding areas, into the museum, and into the remarkable designed open space planned at Ocean Wide Center called the Urban Room. MOAD has also visited the offices of Ocean Wide, where we were well accepted, and we look forward to continuing our conversation with them about activating their public space with arts program, performance, and humanities program. This is an unprecedented opportunity, and we urge you to support this legislation. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker. Hi.
Good afternoon, Supervisors. My name is Misha Olivas. I'm Director of Programs with United Players, and I'm here to voice my support for Ocean Wide and this project. Most times there's a huge disconnect between what happens down that side of Mission Street and what happens after 6, and we were really excited that they reached out to us, toured our clubhouse, met some of our youth, and are interested in finding ways that we can work together. We're really excited about any improvements that happen to our community. As you know, it's a high-needs neighborhood, and we need everything that we can get that helps make the streets safer and more livable for the families and young people that we serve. And so we're just really excited about the potential for new open space and finding ways that we can just continue to bring that community voice to their table. And we have been very happy with how much they are interested in hearing that community voice and learning from our experience, and just really incorporating the needs of the community into their project, not just office workers and people who are there during the day, but the people who live there as well. And so we met Eddie and Chan, and their motto, "From the Society, for the Society," instantly struck a chord with us and means the same thing to us as it takes the hood to save the hood. So we look forward to them being our neighbor. Thank you.
Thank you for coming. Next speaker.
Good afternoon, Supervisors. My name is Nora Brereton, and I'm the Associate Director at the Crossroads, and I'm also going to be speaking on support of the project, and we hope that you'll consider our experience when making decisions about this project. At the Crossroads is a street outreach and counseling organization for homeless youth in San Francisco, and for the past 18 years, we have been helping homeless youth move beyond the streets and build outstanding lives. Oceanwide reached out to us earlier this year to let us know that they were interested in learning more about our work. At the Crossroads is not a high-profile organization. We don't get a lot of publicity. There are many organizations that can help businesses get lots of good PR because of their size or because of their public profile, but we are not among those organizations. Those who engage with us do so because they want to make a difference in the community. A couple weeks later, Chen and Eddie came to meet with us, and sometimes when representatives of local businesses want to meet with us, they expect us to come to them. They spend very little time with us, and their interests can be very superficial. This was not the case with Eddie and Chen. They exhibited a great deal of humility and asked meaningful, thoughtful questions, and really wanted to learn about our clients, our work, and homelessness in San Francisco. After the meeting, we exchanged pleasant emails, and a couple of weeks later, Oceanwide did make a generous donation to At the Crossroads, and they demanded no recognition or acknowledgement for that. Now, in 2017, we are actually going to be moving to Jessie Street, to Jessie and 3rd Street, about 2 blocks away from the proposed development. It will be very essential for us to have strong engagement with the local community in order to do the best job helping our clients. And while we're still in the early stages of our relationship with Oceanwide, our initial experience has been extremely positive, and we would be really thrilled to have them as neighbors. Thank you for your consideration.
Thank you. Are there any other members of the public that would like to speak at this time? Okay, public comment is closed. At this time, I'd like to give the mic to Deputy City Attorney John Malmet, who has a few proposed amendments to present to the committee today.
John Malmet from the City Attorney's Office. Through the chair, there are some minor amendments to the ordinance, which is item 3 on your agenda. They're on page 11, and they're just minor amendments to point out how the new fund that's being created has the basement or the minimum amount that would be in there would be $40 million. In part, it's dependent on the final build-out of the project and the final design, so we don't know the exact numbers yet. That's why there's a lot of approximately this amount or that amount. But these amendments just point out that there will be no less than $40 million that go into the fund. Great.
That's a simple amendment. Thank you. Is there a motion to accept the amendments presented by City Attorney John Malmet? Is there a motion to accept? Okay, there we go. Thank you. A motion accepted. That is a unanimous exception, Madam Clerk. Got it. All right. So I also understand that I'd like to take a motion at this time to accept not only the amendments but also move this item forward with a positive recommendation to the full board.
Madam Chair, for item number 3, it could be referred without recommendation to a date certain for the board hearing on the ordinance for July 19th, I believe.
Yes, that's correct. That works. July 19th. So without objection? Without objection, this motion passes. Thank you. All right. Madam Clerk, is there any other items before this body?
Yes, one other on item number 2, to recommend that out as normal.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'd like to make a motion to move it forward with a positive recommendation. And that is also without objection. Are there any other items before this body?
No, there's no further business.
All right, thank you. This meeting is adjourned.